Hi, I'm Sondra Hoffman, and welcome back to THE Network. Today we're here to spotlight plus size and full-figured modeling, and we are very lucky to have our very own Michanda.
Hi.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going great. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you for being here. We're really excited. So I wanted to get it started and talk to you about how you got started in this agency. When did you decide you wanted to start doing plus size full figured modeling? Give us your beginning of your journey.
Okay. So I would say the journey for me became real when I was living in Atlanta, and people kept saying, Michanda, you should model. I was like, what? I went to school. I just didn't think that it was something for me to pursue. But I said, okay, as I was transitioning and had taken some pictures with Derek Blanks, and they came out really good, I was like, I might have a shot at this. So I moved to DC, and I said, well, if I get signed with an agency, then that means that I'm supposed to be doing this. I submitted to THE and literally was like, yep, we got you. And then I was booked a week later, and I was like, well, that means I'm supposed to be on this journey.
Oh, it's so exciting. So what was your first job with THE Artist Agency?
Wow. My first job in 2011 was with Macy's, and it was an informal / runway show. So I was like, this is amazing. I didn't know how to really walk. Like, I knew how to walk, but with my confidence has always been high. I just said, well, let me just fake it until I make it. And I did just that.
Love it. That's always good words to live by.
It is.
So what did you find when you went to your first few bookings with THE? Did you find any initial challenges? Did you find that there were any hurdles that you needed to get over in order to really jumpstart your career?
I think the only hurdles for me to get over was not knowing how to be a professional model and what you need to have in your kit per se. So I didn't really have a lot of money, and so people were like, well, you have to have a model bag with shoes and stuff, and I'm like, So I would borrow shoes from friends and was like, can I borrow some shoes and let me do this? And a lot of times I would find out when I got to the bookings, they would already have everything, so it was like, what a sigh of relief. But just knowing what to do when you got there, how to interact with the client, what to say, what not to say, how to interact with even other models, because you have to be professional, I think, on every level. And I think a lot of times models think, well, oh, I'm a model, I'm creative, I don't have to be professional. But professionalism is what's going to get you booked again and again and again. And so the more that you pay attention and go in with a positive attitude, smiling and being friendly, the more you will get booked in return.
Yep. And having booked you for a lot of these jobs, I can tell you and I can tell our viewers that attitude is everything, and you have one of the best, outlooks on yourself, and that's why you are so confident. And I would love you to share with the viewers kind of how you remain confident in this industry, especially with plus size and full figured. How do you keep your confidence and keep your spirits up when everything around you is constantly combative?
That is an excellent question, Sondra. For me, it's an inward thing, and this journey for me is a journey of faith. I could not do this without my faith being where it is. And each year I would have struggles. Some days you would get booked and not wondering, well, why am I not getting booked? And I would call you and be like, I'm not getting booked, what's happening? And it wasn't anything that had to do with me not getting booking. It's about timing. And as I started to grow, I would go up to New York and get doors slammed in my face. I had a pity party, but I had a very good pity party in the Water Astoria. So I was like, if I'm gonna cry, I gotta cry pretty. But running the streets and the pavements of trying to make it in New York and never being accepted, quote unquote, there at that time, and even in Philly, it was still a timing thing, but DC welcomed me with open arms. And I said, well, let me hone in on this market and figure out how to better develop me. And through that and my spirituality and becoming more one with God, I started to learn who I was. And as a result of learning who I was, my light began to shine from the inside out. So it was no longer me trying to fit into what the world wanted me to be. It was me fitting into who I was called to be. And so for me, that was more important. And now I'm like, if I don't get booked, it wasn't for me. But the bookings that I get, I know it's for me, and I know who I'm supposed to reach. And so to me, that is more important than trying to fit into who people want you to be.
I love it. It's so true, though. You know, any model who I know is constantly getting no after no, I'm like, just wait for the yes, because the one yes is the one that, you know, is going to kickstart everything. So I wanted to touch base on this past year, 2017. As we know, Ashley Graham, who's the first plus-size full-figured model to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated, was a big turning point for the industry and specifically for plus-size and full-figured modeling. Where do you think that this big moment has us going towards?
I think it has us going towards accepting people for who they are and being body positive conscious. Like, everyone isn't going to be the same size. Even in families, if we think about, if you have a sister or you think about body shapes, everyone is shaped differently. And I think, you know, Ashley Graham being able to grace the covers of Sports Illustrated is saying, women are beautiful in all shapes and sizes. And it doesn't matter what size you are. What matters is what is shining through, because Ashley is beautiful not only on the outside, but her interior illuminates so that she can be able to grace the presence of Sports Illustrated and be like, hello, I'm here, thank you, and goodbye. You know, she just does it, and she does it in such a graceful way, and it sets the precedent for those who are coming behind her to want to do things.
So, as we talked about how you got started and your first initial bookings, how did you feel through your bookings that you started with and the ones that you're doing now that you would come prepared when you had to do your own hair and makeup, or when you had to bring your own model bag, like you're saying? What are the little tips and tricks you can give to the other models that help you do all this before your first job?
Well, back in the day, YouTube wasn't as prevalent as it is today. And so coming hair and makeup ready, they would give specific guidelines, whether it was natural makeup. And THE did an amazing job of giving us examples of what natural makeup look, a smoky eye look, and just depending on what the client was looking for, and then they would send pictures. And so you did your best to look at the pictures and mimic exactly what the pictures would portray. Now, the challenge with me is that my hair was natural. And so having natural hair, I often had to ask, well, how do they want my hair? Because natural hair is not always accepted as it is. It wasn't always accepted as it is now today. And so that was always my challenge of, do I have to straighten my hair? Do I have to, you know, put a wig on? Do I have to wear it curly? Like, how do I wear my hair? And makeup, I've always been a little bit makeup savvy. So makeup was pretty good. And if they didn't like it when you got there, they would always change it. So that was the thing. It's like you just kind of figured it out. But then you started to see how models would look and what they were looking for. And then you just started to mimic that. You take pictures and you remember what the client wants, and then you make sure that you can replicate that the next time you get booked.
Oh, good. Thank you for sharing that. So I know that our viewers don't know this yet, but I know that you have a lot of passions outside of modeling, which have a lot to do with beauty. Share with us a little bit how you found your passion for beauty and hair and makeup, and you know what that's like day to day outside of modeling.
Awesome. So beauty, it all started, I was actually doing a segment for my church called Faith News, and I was doing makeup, and I felt this intuition to just kind of go and do makeup, and was like, makeup, me? And that's how it started. I was modeling, had just started modeling with Nordstrom's, and after a trend show, I walked over to a counter and was like, well, this counter is pretty popular, so I want to work for them. And it just happened to be Bobbi Brown. And so I was like, well, how do I get with Bobbi Brown? And I just started churning, and a friend of mine was working at Clarins at the time, and so I started working with Clarins, but it was like, this is not the way I wanted to go, and immediately, within 2 or 3 weeks, got on with Bobbi Brown because I was determined to get with them. And so from working with Bobbi Brown, and at the time, Bobbi was very big on being who you are and being naturally beautiful. And that to me resonated with me because I wasn't a big makeup wearer and I didn't want to ever look too made up. And so I was like, what is this fine medium? And so from there it just kind of grew, and I was like, women come in every day wanting to feel beautiful. And so I was like, how can I do my part in continuing to foster that and continuing to make it grow? And so it just became a passion of mine. So whenever I get an opportunity to do someone's makeup, it's like I get an opportunity to help them share their inner beauty and their inner essence. And so that to me just developed a passion over time. And I knew at that point that that was one of the things that I was called to do, is to help other people feel beautiful.
So in addition to your love for makeup, I also know you've started a blog, and we'd love to know a lot more about that.
Absolutely. So I recently just started a blog focusing on beauty, fashion, and fitness. And it just kind of spawned out of my love for beauty. And then I said, well, wait a minute, what else am I good at? And I said, well, fashion I model, and fitness, I was like, I'm passionate about fitness. I've done an Ironman, and I'm a triathlete, and I'm a cycle instructor. And so I was like, okay, I get it. And so earlier in 2017, I kind of switched and said, okay, I'm just going to start on Instagram and focusing on beauty, fashion, and fitness. And then now it's transitioning into kind of me giving more tips and focusing on me being people's BFF and providing, tips and tricks on beauty, fashion, and fitness. And I love it.
I love that, BFF, beauty, fashion, and fitness. Well, that's very exciting. So when you're giving these nutrition tips, what are things that you tell your blog viewers?
So I wouldn't say more so nutrition tips, but a lot of fitness. And basically it's just following the journey. And basically just start. A lot of times people get caught up in, oh, well, I don't think I can do something. No, just start. Like, I didn't think I could do a half Ironman. And because I just showed up, I showed up and just finished. I placed third. So it's just about getting out there and doing it, and stop telling yourself what you can't do, but start telling yourself what you can do. Because a lot of times it's a matter of our mind, and we're getting caught up in the fog of that's up there versus just going out and just saying, you know what, I'm just going to try.
That's amazing. Congrats on an Ironman. I don't think I could do that. Half Ironman. Oh, that's amazing. Well, congratulations on the blog. That's really exciting. I hope our viewers go check it out. Yes. So, as we're talking about fitness and being healthy and staying true to yourself, as a booker, I know for the industry, DC is a different market for plus and full figured as the market is in New York. They're very different. The size requirements are different. How do you manage staying your true self and staying comfortable with your body, knowing the requirements of your category?
That's a good question. I would say I have to balance it in terms of making sure I eat well and knowing what I want. So a lot of times in terms of modeling, if you're modeling in DC, the size requirements are different than in New York than, say, for instance, in Philly. And so you have to know what you want and what do you want out of it. And for me, that has been a challenge. In New York, I haven't been as successful, but in Philly, doors are starting to open up for me. But in DC, I fit the perfect size for DC. And so it's about working out. For me, I work out 4 to 5 days a week. I eat well. I mean, of course, I have my occasional hiccups, but for the most part, I eat well, and I monitor my weight by when I'm in the when I'm in the gym. I kind of size myself and say, okay, this is where I need to be, and how my clothes fit. Like, I can always tell, especially if I'm on a booking, if I have to wear one Spanx or another. And so depending on, which one it is, I kind of know you need to get yourself together, you need to come down, and whether it's a balance of weightlifting and cardio. For me, I tend to not necessarily bulk up fast, but we as women need that, so we can look toned. And my thing is, I want to look toned, and I want to look good in my clothes. So no matter what size I am, I want to make sure that I look good and I feel good. And it basically starts with me and saying, what do I want? And from there, I can kind of back up and say, oh, let's go this direction. But you have to know, like, say, for instance, if I do lose too much weight, then I may not be the right booking for a DC market. So I have to find out, it's a fine balance. But also, if I'm being still true to myself, then I will still get booked because the people will want me. Because at the end of the day, modeling is about selling clothes. It's about selling. And if you can't wear an outfit and a woman say, I want to wear that, then you are not modeling.
Yeah.
Because that's what modeling is. It's about being the best salesperson and wanting people to want to buy what you're wearing. And I want to make sure that I look good doing that.
And of course, if you feel good in what you're wearing, you can sell anything.
Absolutely.
Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your message with everyone. And all our viewers out there, please go to theartistagency.com and check out our blog for more information. Thank you.